Hi, it's Chris here from Becker's Models, and it's time to start building the Super Stallion. This is part 2 of my build series, and I'm going to start with the tail. They say to eat an elephant. How do you do it? You do it little by little, and this is an elephant of a kit. So I'm going to start with the tail. Now, the way Academy have designed this is the tail can be done folded or in its full position, and they use this little bulkhead piece here, which is nicely detailed. It's missing a few parts, but that fits on the end here of the main tail component. You've got the fixed stabilizer, which is as big as a 172 Spitfire wing, you know, and there's just the main part for the bottom where you have a skid, a tail skid just there. Now, as you can see, the plastic is very shiny, very smooth, which is of course a problem. All this needs to have rivet detail added. Now I'll just go over the parts, what we've got here, and you'll see what I've already done. Okay, so you've got the two main tail halves, and as you can see, I've cut out quite a bit of the original plastic, because what Academy did is they molded in the mesh screens, which I'll show you using Photoetch. This is what I'm going to add. So these mesh screens, they molded them in as just relief, okay, and it looks a bit naff. So I've cut them out and I've very carefully trim those properly, and I'll be adding those pieces soon, not straight away, because if you add all the PE now, in the handling of putting all the rivets and extra stuff on here, they might get damaged. So the downside of removing detail to add detail is you have to add detail. Do you follow me with that? So what I've had to do is I've built the transmission housings, okay, because you can see these, and it's just taped in place. You can see these through the mesh, and I'll just turn that over carefully so you can see quite a bit of it. I haven't finished cutting that one out. All right, so you can see the main gearboxes and the shaft, and these are only dry fitted together just in case I've got some alignment problems. So yeah, I've got to add a bit more detail. I'll talk about that in a minute. So here's the fixed stabilizer, and as you can see, there's a couple of relief panels. Got this nice rib texture here at the back. There's one main panel line here, and there's another panel line here that runs fore and aft, and that's where the stabilizer connects to the tail. Unfortunately, that's in the wrong position, and we flip it over, and they've got 3 or 4 panels that they've done in relief there as well, which is supposed to be a raised panel like that. So that detail's wrong. I'm going to fill in with that panel line with some CA glue, and I'm going to rescribe it, because it's actually, I'll see if I can put a reference photo up. It's actually, this mount here is fixed. It is welded or riveted to the tail, but the rest of the stabilizer isn't. It's sort of pushed on. So there's a sizable gap here. So I'm going to replicate that. The other thing I need to do is, as you can see, very smooth surfaces. There's a few relief panels here, okay, and a few raised rivets here. I'm going to add a few more. There's a few missing along here, and I'll be using some of the parts from the Edward exterior set. There's a few upside down, Miss Jane. There's a few pieces there I can use. All right, so that's I'll tackle that one after I finish this one. So that's the tail with the transmission, and these are just kit bash parts. They're not 100% accurate. You're not going to see them in full detail. I'm going to add a few more. There's another bolt I need to add there. That's easy to put on, and I'm going to add wiring, but I'll add the wiring after I've glued them in, and after I've painted these. And the shaft is like an anodized aluminium, and these ones are steel or sort of aluminium shapes. And of course, I need to get rid of all this. Now the next thing is, again, can you see it on this one? Yep, they've put this panel here, which has to be replaced with or added on with another Photoetch part, which unfortunately, as well as the Edward set is, it's not as comprehensive as I like, and there's actually a few pieces missing. So I've had to dig into my surplus, this is from a F15, sets to get some of these panels that have rivets around them, because yeah, they're not, I mean, even just a couple of hours look at all the panels around the Super Stallion, you can see that they've missed quite a lot. They do tell you to add a few on the other side. You can see how they've done these 2, but they've missed these 4. So you know, I've had to come up with another source for those ones. And there's a main, I think it's down here or up here, there's a big reinforcement plate that is just completely missing. So I have to add that myself with some sheet styrene. For the bottom, okay, like I said, this has to be added, all these rivets. I'm going to add some Photoetch here for that one. Where is it? There it is. That's this horseshoe shape here. I'm going to add that. And the, I won't show you, but I've got the actual skid and all that. It's actually well detailed enough, doesn't have to have much more added to it. And yeah, so summing up, a little bit complicated, to say the least, but I'm getting there, So hopefully the next video I'll finish what I've done here with these ones, and I'll put some Photoetch panels on and super glue them to the tail halves, and then I can get to the fun and exciting bit of riveting. So I've made some progress and I'm ready to do some riveting. So you can see that it's all put together, the tail's put together, or this part of it at least, and the insides have been painted and detailed up with some wiring and extra bolts. What I'll do is, here down the bottom as well, I'll put some work in progress photos up here so you can see what I had to do. And those extra PE pieces, unfortunately they didn't cover all the panel line positions they gave you, so I had to fill them all in. And I've put the reinforcement plate there and up there. So that is ready. Oh, and also underneath I've put just that one PE piece in there. This is ready to have its rivets applied. I'll be using the Archer rivets very shortly on that, and that will complete that portion of the tail. And on the stabilator I've moved I'll just get that out of the way, I've moved filled in that panel line, moved it over and made it more than just a panel line. I made it a fairly wide line. I might even put another scribing over top of that and added some raised panels, and again this needs lots and lots of rivets. The other thing I've done, just to skip ahead, is I've started to assemble the tail rotor. Now this is not the original pieces, this is the Reskit. I'm using a lot of Reskit aftermarket for this, and this went together extremely well. It's 3D printed resin pieces. The only issue I had was doing the connectors between the, that's still not glued in, the connectors between these rotor pieces and the actual blade. So I just need to do that again. The Photoetch for them is extremely small and fragile. I might even replace that with some different parts. So that's going together extremely well, and I might have to add, let me just get it, that's the actual rotor piece that goes onto the tail. Where does that go? Let's just put this on. I believe it goes in there like that. Okay. I did have a crazy idea at one stage to motorize this, but it's just a little bit too tight, and yeah, it's a lot of effort. I might do it with a larger helicopter one day, but I want to add that box, that control box there, the little tiny box. It does have a wire on it. I'll see if I can put a reference photo up here, and so I'm going to try to add that. So yeah, so that's all coming along well, and the next stage is the riveting, and I better get good at this because I have to put on literally thousands of these across the entire aircraft, so I better get to it. So the tail unit itself is now primed with Mr. Surfacer. I've had it's about 3 or 4 rounds of spot priming and fixing and rescribing, and in fact there's still one more left to do. I've cleaned this end up here, but I just need to rescribe in one line there, and just need to cover off some of the bits I've sanded back, but it's almost ready to have its rivets applied, which is good because I've already done most of them on the other pieces. I'll get to that in a minute, but I just want to show you the rotor because that's fully primed. I might zoom in there to give you a look at the detail and show you what I've actually done. So you can see this, I don't know what the terminology is for this floating rotor head with the connectors down to the actual rotors, but as I said in the previous little video, I replaced these with stretch sprue because I felt that the PE pieces were just, they're very fiddly and I couldn't get them to twist correctly, and the slots they give you in these rotor bits were just not wide enough, and then also there was some not very good mouldings at the end of the rotors. So I just replaced them with, what did I use? I think I used 0.6mm nuts, okay, just on either side, just to sort of give it a bit of extra layer of detail there, but it's come out quite nicely, I think. It's quite complex. So yeah, so that's ready for a paint. So we'll put that aside, and I've got a box here of stuff that's going to be put aside ready for paint, and I'll show you what I've done with the rivets. Now you may not recognise these parts, but this is actually the ramp. This is the rear ramp, which I made, I think, a fair while ago, over a year ago I made this, and that's got all the Edward Photoetch on it, which has got raised rivets on that side, but on the underside it's just clear. And yeah, I've started to do rivets. This is the first spot I did. I did a test. I haven't put a gloss coat on this. I have on these two parts, which I'll explain in a minute. And I've put a double row of rivets on last night, and they've all dried off nicely. I did what Mr. Archer recommends, and that's to use, oops, throw that around, Chris. That's to use microsol after the rivets dry, and you just apply these like a decal. You just carefully cut them off the sheet. Okay, these sheets here, cut off the right run you need. You slice the not the whole thing, but once you've made your run, you slice off the little bit of the carrier film that's there, and so you can pull the rivets off the backing paper, and yeah, it works quite well. I had one set curl up on me, and that was completely my fault because I touched it before it was dry. But yeah, you can see it's not silvering, it's just the carrier film, okay, being reflected there. Once you put a flat coat on, that will disappear. So this is the underneath, so you might be able to see that when it's flying. So, but I still will put a couple more runs there, and yeah, but what I'm really happy with is these two pieces, the upper ramps. These are the ones that, I'll see if I can put a reference photo up here to explain where these pieces go. So when the ramp is up and they close the back of the helicopter up, these two pieces come in like that. Okay, and I've done a bit more on those, and they're almost done. So I've added an extra PE piece there that's missing in the kit. I've done double runs and double rows and single rows here. And because you won't see these very clearly, I've experimented with the different sizes and that, just to get an idea of what's involved. This one's almost done. I just need to put a few across that way. And so this has had a gloss coat, and you can see where my gloss coat is not perfect, but it was just a simple one. And with the micro sole, that's gone in really nicely, and I can't really see any problems with that, although there is a little bit. I might have to put some more on that run there. There's a couple of wrinkles on that one. So I've got to clear everything away in a second. So I make notes because this is the only way to do it. I've drawn out I've just sketched. Okay, so that's the basic port side. Yeah, port side, starboard side up here, and then the stabilator, which I haven't shown you. Hang on, here it is. Okay, so that's had its first initial run of 3 fore and aft, and then I have to put in some side to side, and then once they dry, do the bottom ones. So yeah, that's coming along quite well. So I'll just put that there. So what I've done is gone over all my reference photos and double checked to see where the rivets are. So I've literally been counting rivets, and that is not fun. And from the outset, I've got to tell you, I'm not going to try to replicate every single bloody rivet on this thing, because there's millions of them, and the sheets are very expensive. In fact, I've ordered some more because I reckon I'm going to run out. I thought I had enough, but I don't have enough, particularly the single row ones. But yeah, so I've sketched it all out so I know what I'm doing, and I've got a bit of a process going. I'm going to get into it soon, but as you can see on this side, so there's the ramp, and the other pieces there. I worked out where to put them, and that just makes it a lot easier. I mean, the tools I use for this are very simple. I'll just grab them all off camera. So just a locking set of tweezers to hold onto the run, pair of scissors, bloody hell. A knife. You can see I've been staying up late doing this stuff. I haven't had much sleep. And then one of these things, some calipers. Because what's great about this is all I do is I measure the width that I require, like so, and then I get my sheet and I work out, okay, well, how long do I need? I make a little incision and then cut it off, and away I go. So yeah. Hopefully the next update we'll see all this done, and then I can get on to part 2. So I just want to show you the process of how I'm riveting the tail. As you can see, I've started on the other side of this stabilator thing. I've done this side, and I'm actually going to do this in reverse because I've already started wetting this run, and I'm going to show you how I put this one down and then the process I do from there. So this line's already been cut, and I should be able to move that. Let's get that in camera, Chris. Okay, so there's a little slit, and what I do is I just grab the end of it, and if I can pull, and I can pull you see how I've pulled a couple of rivets away. And this is where it's important to use a gloss coat here, even though these are decals, and technically you don't need gloss coats with decals. The great thing with the gloss, to make this as smooth as possible, is so you can move them around, because you know they're long and fiddly, and
The other thing I do is, because I've already done the other process I found out by trial and elimination, when I'm doing rivets across other rivets, I like these to be completely dry and set with the microsol, so they're nicely adhered to the surface. I haven't put a clear coat over them yet, but that stops them when I put them down or over another type moving around and going nuts. So I'm just going to lay this down close to this panel line here, and I'm just going to use my finger to try to pull it off. And of course on camera it doesn't work, and there we go. I'll just pull it out a little bit more and hopefully this will work. Yep, there we go. And I just carefully pull that away. Sometimes when I do that it sticks to my finger, so I have my little thing of water nearby and that helps. So while that's going on, this is why I'm doing this in reverse. While that's going on, because it takes a minute or so to get these set, I get the next strip. I've already cut it off. I've already measured it with the calipers. I've already cut it off the sheet, and I've already scored the end of it. Okay, so you score the end of it, of the decal film, not all the way through to the back. And then what I do is, while I'm, like I said, that one's still sitting there, it's not right yet, I'll just get a little bit of water on the brush, but don't put too much on, put the rest on the back of my hand, and then just with the brush, I just wet the back of the decal sheet, so just the backing sheet. So I'll just put a bit more water like that, and just a little bit on the edge. Okay, it's in my lockable tweezers, and I'll just put that aside out of the way, and it's elevated off the bench, so it won't actually touch the bench, because that takes about a minute or so to get set. So what I need to do with this one, my end camera there, yep, okay, I need to get that back over that panel line, and this is where the gloss coat helps, because it actually helps move them. They don't need a lot. I'm barely using any pressure, and when I need to do some fine ones, I just use that slightly damp brush again, and I'll see if I can show you how I do this. So that is moving ever so slightly, and then I've got to be really, really gentle here, and I think I've made that look that I'm barely touching that. Okay, these are very fragile. I think I've got it nice and straight, but I am missing a rivet. I didn't make it long enough. Bugger. Well, that's okay. Actually, I think I'll move that a bit closer to the panel line. So I'll just keep that there. No, I'll go around the other way, upside down, Miss Jane. Okay, you got that in the light. I'm just going to, from the side here, just push it over. See how I'm pushing it? And you can see how when you get into a process, that's why I get the other rivet set ready to go before I, just to save time. So okay, that's nice and close to the panel line now. I'll just leave that to dry. I'm not going to touch it with a cotton bud. I'm not going to press it down. I'm just going to let the water evaporate, and then I'll use the microsol later. So now that I've got the other one ready to go, it should be done. If I pull it off the backing sheet, again, first time on camera. Oh yeah, there it goes, it's coming. And the trick with these is to, oh, there we go, it's broken off. This happens from time to time, and it's not that hard to fix. Get a pair of tweezers. This is all fun and games, isn't it? You know, I'm doing this on a part that's probably not going to be seen, so I'll just put that down onto where I want to. Where are you going? Just there. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, and yeah, okay. The rest of it's coming all right. I sometimes use the knife to get it off very carefully. There we are. All right. Whoop. Then I've left a few rivets on there as well. As you can see, this is not a foolproof process. You've got to be really careful to do this, and you can see why it's taken me bloody forever. So I apologise for the lateness for this build log, because I'm going to end this here, because I've still got, I'll show you the tail. Okay, I've just started to do these here. I've done another set underneath, so I've got some doubles and some singles. Haven't done the other side yet. You know, it's just taken bloody forever. I've done all the spot priming that I had to do, so that's all nice and clean. It's all just right. So yeah, I'm going to leave it there. I was hoping to get the whole thing done before I start the next build log video, but I need to get moving. This rain that we've had last week has been shocking. My wife and I have been staying up late at night mopping up. You're not going to go down, are you, bloody rivet? There you go. I've been staying up late at night trying to keep downstairs is where I am right now. I'm back here again because the sun's out. Yeah, hey. Trying to keep it dry, so not much modeling's going on. I had one night of modelling, so yeah. And I had to choose the most complex riveting scheme on the whole bloody aircraft to start riveting, because the other bits, which you'll see in yeah, the two, yeah, you will see it, the next one is the sponsons. I'll put a picture up here. There's a picture of the sponsons. They're covered in rivets, but they're just straight up and down. And then the actual fuselage itself, again, straight up and down. The only problem will be I have to use these the staggered and the double first, and then do the lengthways after that. But it's just straight up and down. It should be. It'll still take forever, of course, because this always does take twice as long as you think. But yeah, okay, I'm going to put some extra rivets in here. What a pain in the ass. Oh, excuse my French. What a pain. All right, I'll leave it there. Thanks very much for listening and watching. And yeah, I know it can get a bit tedious, but I do have some more interesting things just off camera. I'll just tease it. Whoop, what was that? Okay, you'll see that in the next video. I'll catch you later. Bye.